Oh, oh boy. Okay. So, there was a ton of fights to talk about this weekend, but they kind of got cut in half, I guess. I mean, if you want to, I mean, the Bellator event, Bellator 241 finally got canceled this morning. Probably a smart move by Bellator. UFC still hasn't canceled tomorrow's fights, depending on when you're hearing this. So, UFC Brazil still on. That's good. I mean, for fans anyway, as far as like spreading the disease and a bunch of other stuff. Probably not so good. I'm going to try to keep my talk away from the virus. Not for monetization, because guess what? I ain't monetized, so it's not a big deal for me. Just because it's not my expertise. It's not something I want to like just float misinformation out there. So I just kind of want to stick to the fights and the information that we do have about them, and kind of go over what's probably going to be the only sporting event going on tomorrow. Yeah, kind of crazy. All right, so starting at the top. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Kevin Lee missed weight again, man. Can't be doing that. I mean, all this talk about responsibility and everything else that he brought up, and that Faraz was talking about him, you know, you got to pay now or pay later. You know, you're going to suffer today, you're going to suffer tomorrow, because you're going to suffer at some time. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. I understand that they were like, yeah, we need to make the 165 division. Ally Quintus like, we're not going to make a 165 division just because we have one undisciplined guy. That's not like, this isn't the reason why you make a 165. But I could, regardless, I don't think that solves all of his issues. Clearly, he has a problem making 155 consistently. He's missed weight quite a few times now. I didn't see any visible staph this time, which is good. But honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him, man. I don't know. He seems to have his shit together this time, and for the last camp, he seems to have it all working together. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know why he can't manage to just. It's hard as a fan of Kevin Lee's to root for him when he does this, because I'm not a fan of people missing weight and then fighting. Like, I've called it sanctioned cheating. It's been, I didn't coin that term. It's just been called sanctioned cheating, and that's kind of how I feel about it. You know, and I said this before. You know, miss by a pound, miss by 10 pounds, whatever. Miss it by a weight class. It doesn't matter. You missed weight, and that's unacceptable. So, yeah, he's got to figure out something. All right, that aside, let's actually talk about the fight. Charles Oliveira made weight, so nothing to complain about there. This fight's going to be really interesting. I think Oliveira has kind of been overlooked. He's been fighting, I wouldn't say subpar competition. I mean, let's hold on. Let's just take a look at his record real quick. Yeah, because I don't know. I wouldn't call it subpar competition per se, but he's definitely not fighting the top 10. Right, yeah, okay. So his last 3 fights were Jared Gordon, Nick Lentz. You know, nothing to turn your nose up there. But, you know, not exactly in his prime. Not really, like, the elite or on the doorstep of the elite, like the precipice there. So he's kind of a step down from the elite. He's been fighting David Tamor. Again, like, interesting prospect with a lot of upside, but, you know, Charles Oliveira has 36 fights at this point. He's a very experienced fighter, so I wouldn't say he padded his record, because there's not really like a cakewalk in the UFC. But he hasn't been fighting the elite competition, so I think that's why, you know, everybody's like, oh, you know, he's been on a 6-fight win streak and blah blah blah. It's like, he fought Clay in 2018. He fought Clay Guida, Christos Giagos, Yeah, I don't know that guy either. And Jim Miller. Again, those names are big, but if we look at when he fought them, like in terms of their career, not at their prime, not at their peak. And then, as I said, the other 3 fights. So he's on a 6-fight win streak. But he lost to Paul Felder before that. You know, and who I would say is probably his toughest competition that he's fought out of those past 7 fights, and he lost that one. Yeah, toughest by far. So where do I have him? I have him like I honestly can't tell you. Like he's been fighting less than elite competition over the past couple of years, and the one time he did fight someone who was relatively elite, what I consider elite, being Paul Felder, I would say he's like an elite fighter. He didn't come out on top. So if I remember that fight, I don't think he looked very good in that fight either. That being said, we look at Kevin Lee. Again, all the upside in the world. Great wrestling, insane power, great striking, new camp, focused. Well, weight issues aside, focused. And going into this weekend, riding that momentum of that Gregor Gillespie knockout, things look nothing but up for him. I know I keep harping on the missing weight thing, but dude, you can't do that and expect to keep going on in that division. I mean, the UFC, I'm trying to think back to when they did this to fighters, where if you missed weight more than twice, like I think if you missed weight a third time and it's clear that it was your fault and, it wasn't like illnesses or extenuating circumstances, they're like, dude, you got to move up a weight class and then we can talk about it and renegotiate again and then you can move down. But as of right now, you can't fight in this weight class because you can't make the weight. I know they did that for a few people. They made him fight in the upper weight class. Yeah, and I think... and I know he did that. He fought at 170. He didn't look so great. And then he moves back down to 155. Has that great fight. Ugh. Okay, so enough of the negativity. Let's just talk about the fight. I said that already once, but this time I mean it. Let's actually talk about the fight. So Kevin Lee, explosive fighter, great wrestling. Tends to like to stay on the feet when he can, and then kind of incorporates wrestling as needed, I would say. Like in the Tony Ferguson fight, he took him down because it was there. It was easy. I don't know if he's going to do that against Oliveira. I don't think he's going to go for a takedown, especially with a guy with that nasty guillotine. That doesn't seem like a good game plan. So I could see this playing out on the feet, where I do believe Kevin Lee has an advantage. Yeah, so nobody's really talking about it, but I think the biggest thing that's going to come into play here is probably cardio. Just a lot of the, like, I don't see Oliveira being able to take, barring, of course, a knockout, right? Someone catches somebody. I say this every time. It's fighting. It's MMA. Anything could happen. Anybody can get knocked out in a second. That happens. But barring like a quick knockout like that, I do see Kevin Lee being able to keep it on the feet and kind of outstrike Oliveira. But his cardio has always been an issue, especially with the problem that he has making weight. And you know that if he misses weight, he was trying real hard, and then he quit trying to cut weight, that is. So, like, he's probably going to be drained. Let's see how that works. Going into the 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th round. So, if I had to pick, I'd say Kevin Lee is more dynamic, and he has a better chance of pulling it off, more tools. But this is, a lot of these fights on this card seem like a 50-50 pick'em. This is a hard one to call. And then it also, if you look at Charles Oliveira's opponents, Kevin Lee's been fighting killers, man. He's been fighting like upper echelon guys, nothing but big names in their prime, top 5 fighters, that kind of stuff. And I mean, he's had a rough go of it. That's the opponents he's been facing, and we know about his challenges outside of the octagon, with his coach passing away as well. So there's that. And Oliveira's competition just has not been the same. And he's looked pretty good against the lower level competition. How's he going to look when he faces somebody like Kevin Lee? Yeah, you know what? I just talked myself into it. I'll take Kevin Lee by TKO. That makes sense to me. I could see that happening easier than Kevin Lee getting submitted. And we saw what happened with Tony Ferguson. He hit him early, took him down super easy, was putting a beating on Tony Ferguson, and just gassed out and got submitted. So that could happen as well. But I would put it out of 10. If they fight 10 times, I'd probably give it to Kevin probably like 6 or 7 out of those times. It's like 60 or 70%. Oh man, this main event, this co-main event, so good, so good. I love Damian Maia. I remember back in like 2007, 2008, watching him fight. Maybe it was 2008, 2009. Yeah, when he was just going on a tear, just triangling everybody, just submitting everybody before he ended up getting knocked out by Nate Marquardt. Whoo, man, he is something else on the ground. And I bring that up because like that's what got me excited about watching him fight. And dude, he is no easy out for anybody. I don't care who you are. Look what he made Tyron Woodley do. Tyron Woodley had one of the worst fights in UFC history against him. Because he knew, like, I can't get close to him. It's like I could try to knock him out a little bit, but if I go to the ground with him, it's a bad day. That's what he did to Ben Askren. World-class grappler. Not in jiu-jitsu, let's say, but a world-class grappler nonetheless. And, dude, he just made him look silly. My dog found the squeaky toy. She never does it. She never plays with that thing, ever. And then the second I'm like, yeah, I think, we should record right now. She goes and grabs it. And you hear it. Anyway, not going to ruin her good time. So Damian Maia is taking on Gilbert Burns. Both these guys, world-renowned jiu-jitsu artists. Gilbert Burns has kind of fallen in love with the stand-up game. He was training with Vitor for a while. So if I'd give the advantage on the feet to Burns. But Damian Maia doesn't stay on the feet. He doesn't. If he's on the feet, he's always looking to take you down. It doesn't matter. Like I said, that Tyron Woodley fight. Tyron Woodley's a world-class wrestler. And every single he just dove for takedowns. He just spammed him with takedowns over and over again. Not like that's how I see this fight going. Does Gilbert have enough to hold off Damian Maia? And if he does, because it's only 3 rounds, Damian Maia can gas over 5 rounds, especially even if he keeps you on the ground and he has advantages over you, and he has the advantageous positions. If you can fight them off long enough and make it into those later rounds, he will gas. He always does. So if you can make it into those later rounds, you have a much better chance on the feet. Staying on the feet, you have a much better chance because he's just not going to work. He's not going to be able to work as hard for those takedowns anymore. And then he's a little bit slower. And you're more likely to catch him in those later rounds. Obviously, anything could happen in the early rounds. I can't pick against Damian Maia in this. As good as Gilbert Burns is, I just see a path to victory for Damian. Him taking him down and just getting on his back. The human backpack. I think he could do that. Get him in a rear naked. He's that good. I think this would be a good test for Burns, who comes in with a great jiu-jitsu pedigree of his own. I don't have his accolades on the top of my head, but he is very, very good. So it'll be a good test to see him against another, like a guy who is only doing jiu-jitsu. Damian Maia doesn't do anything else, so it'll be interesting. But I'll take Damian Maia. I'll take him. What are the odds on that one? What are the odds on that? Oh yeah, Mina, you keep chewing that chew toy. Darn dog. Maia's the underdog. 155 plus 155. Burns is a minus 190. That's a live dog, man. Cause he makes people look bad. Even when they win, he just makes people look bad. unless you knock him out. Wow, she is going ham on that thing, huh? Yeah, I'd take Maya on that one. That's a good dog pick. All right, then we got Renato Moicano versus Damir Hadzovic. That fight might be. I don't know. There's some exciting fights on this card. That fight's probably gonna be chaos. That'd be my prediction for that fight is chaos. I don't know if I could pick either one of them over the other. Moicano is a huge favorite, though. I mean, all right. Okay, he's a minus 350 favorite over Hadzovic, who's plus 265. Dude, I think it's going to end up being chaos. I really do. These guys love to throw, and they throw hard. Like, that's a 50-50 fight, especially in those situations where people are just throwing bombs. So I honestly couldn't pick one or the other. Yeah. That's my pick for fight of the night. Yeah, that'll be my pick for fight of the night. See, then we got before that we have a light heavyweight fight between Johnny Walker. Boy, that hype train got derailed real fast, huh? Versus Nikita Krylov. That's another all-action fight. These guys knock people out or they get knocked out. Walker, less about getting knocked out. He's only got 4 losses, only 1 in the UFC. So Nikita Krylov, dude, that guy's all action all the time, man. He just goes for it. This one's going to be interesting. Let's see if Walker can pull off another one of those early knockouts that he was doing, where he's just running roughshod through the division, knocking people out in 20 seconds, 30 seconds early in the rounds, that kind of stuff. Let's see if we get some of that again. Let's see how his shoulder's doing. That was a weird face, huh? Her. Give him the lazy eye. Anyway. Yeah, again, I don't know how people bet on these kinds of fights where these guys are all action fighters and they only know one direction and that's forward. That's hard to bet on, man. That's like flipping a coin. Yeah, the odds are pretty even too. Walker's a favorite. Minus 150 favorite to Krylov plus 120. Again, I would, if you bet on fights, that's a hard one to bet on. I'd probably give Walker the advantage because he's got the size. And he's got more of that one punch. And plus he's crazy. He does crazy stuff in there. Yeah, no, Krylov does too, man. Krylov does spinning shit. I don't know. Maybe I might. Yeah, I can see Walker having the advantage just because maybe he has a little bit more power. Yeah, I'd say he's more powerful. Got that more one punch knockout power. It's a light heavyweight. Yeah, probably Walker. All right, before that fight, we got Francisco Trinaldo versus John Makdessi. I'd like Makdessi. He's a hard-hitting dude. Tough, he's a tough son of a bitch, too. Great chin. Bad defense, that usually means, huh? And Francisco Trinaldo is 100 years old. And at least he looks 100. Good grief, man. Fighting takes a toll on your body. And your face. Dude, he hits so hard. And Makdessi's more crazy. Trinaldo's more of a traditional boxing, kickboxing style. Less crazy stuff coming from him. Makdessi likes to fight off some more wild stuff. So I think the safe pick for that would be Trinaldo. I don't know if that one's going to be the most exciting fight. Now that I think about it, that could be pretty crazy too. Yeah, Trinaldo's a favorite, minus 170. Makdessi's plus 140. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'd probably take Trinaldo in that one. Again, unless Father Time is eventually like, oh, wait, did I miss you? Yeah, dude, you're 150 years old. No. You can't be fighting anymore. Yeah, Father Time finally finds him. I think he's been hiding in the freaking Brazilian rainforest. But seriously, like, he's just, if he keeps it going, so I'd probably give it to him. That's the whole main card. There's a couple good fights here on the. Dude, this card is stacked. Yeah, this card's pretty stacked. So the main fight on the preliminary card is GCA Formiga versus Brandon Moreno. Moreno's got crazy cardio, likes to box. Another one of those guys who doesn't fight going backwards. That dude pushed forward like crazy. GCA Formiga, if I remember right, he's pretty well rounded. A lot of the flyweights are. He's a pretty well rounded fighter. I don't know, that Brandon Moreno the cardio from him, man, it's hard to take it away from him. He is an underdog, so he's a plus 135. GCA Formiga is, I think he's more well rounded and has more ways to win and outdo him. I don't know. I'd probably pick Moreno. He hits so hard. And he's got crazy gas. Yeah, I'd probably give it. I don't know. It's hard for me not to. Like, now we're starting to get into fighters that, like, yes, I've seen fight, but it's hard for me to, like, really pull from my brain, like, the little details that I've seen from them. So these picks for me aren't gonna. I mean, picks are stupid anyway. Like, what the hell do I know? I'm an idiot. Got this. Oh, another women's strawweight fight. Hell yeah, Amanda Ribas versus Randa Marcos. Probably going to the ground. Yeah, that's gonna be fun on the ground. Ribas, she's the one with the brighter future. Because I think we've seen Randa Marcos. I think we've seen her ceiling. Not that she can't reinvent herself or learn a little bit more, or maybe increase her ceiling just a little bit, but I just never think she's gonna crack the elite. She's just a grinder. She's a grinder, man. She's really good, and she can give anybody on any given night. She can give them a bad night, but I just don't. It's hard for me to pick her in this fight. Yeah, it's hard for me to pick that one. I'd probably take Ribas. Dos Santos, don't know them. Hani Yaya. Haven't seen him fight in forever. I don't know that guy. Marina Moroz is fighting? Wow. Another flyweight. And a girl who I'm guessing this is her first UFC fight. Mayra Bueno Silva. Don't know enough about them. Or the first fight on the card. Don't know any of them. Anyway. Yeah, like I said, I kind of want to just keep the fight or the talk just about the fights and the UFC in general. A little bit like a Bellator. For this weekend, Bellator ended up canceling their event completely. Initially, they're going to close it off to the public, and then they just decided. I don't know if it was mandated to them or strongly suggested, or if they just made the call on their own. Either way, I'd probably lean with them making the smart move here. As much as a fan as I would love to watch more fights are always better. Fine. I'd probably lean with canceling the UFC event too. Probably the smart move, especially with the way they're handling it. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that they're just kind of pushing through it. And I know you might hear from people like, oh yeah, they're doing the right thing by the fighters and keeping them fighting and stuff. Are they though? Wouldn't the right thing be to pay them and to pay them and at least cover, their expenses while the UFC's on hiatus, or if the fights are on hiatus for a little while? Maybe find a safer place to fight. Maybe screen all the fighters, all their crew, bring them to the PI, the Performance Institute, keep everything really tight-knit, and test as much as you can, and fight in a location where the risk is real small. I don't know. I'm sure there's ways to do it other than just canceling everything. I don't think it's like this, man. I don't think it's just closing off. Because they're all down in Brazil. Like, I mean, I don't know how separated they're going to be from the public. But what if one of the fighters is sick? What if one of the trainers is sick? What if one of the media members is sick? What if one of the coaches or the medical staff? Anybody. What if any of them are sick and they fly into Brazil? Not to mention all the people that they were with on the plane. Let's say, best case scenario, they were on a plane with only people in the UFC. It's not the case, but let's say that that's what happened. They get off the plane. They're in an airport with very little people, judging by how many people are taking flights these days, but still people nonetheless. And then they get to a different country, and they're probably staying in a hotel. I'm going to assume that not everybody who's going down there has a home to stay in, and they're going to be interacting with people, man. It's a lot. Like, there's just a lot of incidences for them to have contact with other people. And I know all the fighters are probably going to be fine, even though they're cutting weight, and that's not the best thing for being sick, like compromising your immune system like that. But dude, I don't think they made the right move by keeping the event going on. As much as I'm sure some of the fighters, like I'm sure they're very happy because they're going to get paid, and they don't make money unless they fight, so they have to. But I just don't. I said it 1,000 times already. I don't think it's the right move. Yeah, because what if one of them's sick and then the rest of them get sick? Best case scenario, they all feel fine, and everybody they have contact with doesn't get it. Worst case scenario, they feel like shit, they can't train, or they bring it back to their gym, or they bring it back home to their families, and they get sick. Come on, man. Is this really the best idea? Like I said, I'm excited to watch the fights. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, like, oh, I'm not going to watch these fights because what the UFC is doing is irresponsible. No, I'm still going to watch. And I'm going to enjoy it. Like, I enjoy watching fights, so I'm going to watch them. They're on. I mean, I can go back if none of the fights were happening, I could always go back and rewatch old fights if I was really hankering for some fights. I could always go back and watch old fights. But I don't have to. There's fights on, so I'm going to watch them. Doesn't mean I have to agree with the decision to continue it. Yeah. Kind of a sour note. Let's think about something positive. There's fights on. So we do, as MMA fans, we do have something to watch and something to enjoy. Take our mind off all this crap, this crazy stuff. So hope you guys all enjoy the fights tomorrow night. I will be live tweeting as usual. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Super Lunch Bros. Everything's the same. Super Lunch Bros on Twitter. I don't really use Instagram yet. If I find a reason to, I might. I do have a strongman competition coming up in April, so I'll probably post some videos from that. Yeah, I'll post this up on YouTube if you're watching this. If you're not watching this should be up on YouTube, so go ahead and leave comments there. You can email me, same thing, superlunchbros@gmail.com. Let me know what you guys want, what you think I'm doing right, if there is anything, what I'm doing wrong, and advice you got for me, things you would like me to talk about, you'd like us to talk about. Yeah, so I hope you guys all stay safe and enjoy the fights tomorrow night.